Once once again, family, welcome. And here's your explanation to why you are safe no matter what. As long as you carry out the correct protocol. Now, we cannot be silly, obviously. We have to avoid certain circumstances and states of beingness. Like if you just go to sleep on the side of the road, then there's a high probability that a certain amount of things may happen to you based on how much energy you have, what vibrations you resonate, and things like that. However, when we're talking about when you're walking around throughout your day, especially if you're a woman or a man who's a timid man, then this is information that, and I'm not being mean, because timid is not necessarily a mean, it's not a bad state of being. This is actually kind of cute in a woman. And maybe it's to some females in a man sometimes because it shows a gentleness that's beautiful. So here's what it is that when you're experiencing reality on this third dimensional plane, understand that you are experiencing all planes at once. You exist on all planes at once. So if you ever feel like you're in danger, know that it comes from the energy first. Because that's faster anyway. Everything happens on the astral plane before it gets to you. And before it happens on the astral plane, it happens on the fifth dimensional plane and it's in planes above, beyond. So what first happens is, before you ever end up in physical danger, you need to recognize that you are experiencing an energy that is drawing you into a vibrational state of beingness, which is not in alignment with what you would like to experience. That's why it's dangerous to you, first of all. However, it's a battle if you're not in control of yourself. First of all, within yourself, but also outside of yourself. With everything that you experience that would choose to be a threat to you. So when something wants to be a threat to you, first, it must attack your aura. So it tries to break down at your aura. And trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I've been through plenty of circumstances that allow me to test this over and over and over again. So first they try to break down your aura. It attacks your root energy, what they call your root chakra, which is your core chakra. I call it your core chakra because your roots are really like where your feet are. Like that's where your roots are. However, they like to call it the root, and that's how you recognize it. So we'll call it the root. Your root or core chakra, I can't let it go. Your root or core chakra is where you usually experience the most turbulent first to get you in fight or flight mode. And then once you get in fight or flight mode, then it's easier to get you off of your divine path, your path of divine alignment. So you start doing things wrong. You stop eating the foods you're supposed to eat. And then what happens is you're going about your yay, and because you've been doing things the incorrect way, your vibration is a little shaky. And then you experience something, and then you react to it in a way you normally wouldn't react. So you experience an angry person. And because you obviously are vibrating somewhat on that frequency because you're a little shaky, you're not that happy. You experience the anger that they experience on a more intense level, and you reflect it. And then you and this individual get mad, and then y'all create a scenario. So either you fight or you argue. Something happens. And it's not necessarily what you would desire to experience. How to avoid this, or how to power through it. Because sometimes you can't avoid it if you've gotten into it. The first thing you need to recognize is, like I said, it happens before you ever meet the individual. It happens before you ever enter or occur in that circumstance on a physiological level. The energy is battling. So it's an energy war, if you want to call it a war. We don't want to call it a war. I mean, we use whatever word we want to use. It is basically that before you ever end up in a battle with somebody else, this is for you to protect yourself, for you to know that you can be protected if you're walking about, if you're doing it right. When you're walking around, before you ever end up in a battle with anybody else, your auras actually fight first. So and all the good spirits that want to protect you, they go to war for you, trust me. So when you constantly subjecting yourself to negative circumstances and things that are just terrible, and it's not your divine path, like it's my divine path to deal with the nonsense in order to get to the light. That's what I do. I eradicate negativity by absorbing it and then transforming it. But some people need to learn to avoid certain negative circumstances. And in certain negative circumstances, I avoid. Like, I don't just go into everything. If it's unnecessary, it's unnecessary. So I avoid unnecessary things. I avoid unnecessary fights. I avoid unnecessary arguments. I avoid things that don't matter. You get what I'm saying? And that saves my good spirits. That saves my good spirits. That keeps me in good spirits. See, it keeps you in good spirits to save your good spirits. Because however you walking around is whatever spirits you're projecting from yourself as a portal of existence. The all. You a formation of the all, not the all itself. We have to recognize that the all itself is different from a formation of the all. However, you can't embody the all itself. But if you claim to embody the all itself, then you really need to show some kind of power that resonates with that. And I can show you what that looks like. It'll be, you'll be the individual who exists around a massive amount of negativity and nothing happens to you. And the worst they can do is try to keep you from getting money or something. But the point that I'm making is that your energy is what comes under assault first. So to protect yourself from this negativity, the first thing you need to do is meditate. Not the kind of meditation that you consider to be a meditation. Like a lot of people, when they think about meditation, like they think about fasting. They think about fasting. It's not eating. I'm not eating. Oh my goodness, I cannot eat. Oh, so it's meditating. Oh my goodness, I can't just sit still. Dude, meditation could just simply be focus your mind on something that you love or something that is, righteous within you that makes you want to stand with your chest out. Something that makes you feel jubilant. Something that makes you feel like you serve to exist. I don't say deserve, because when you deserve something, it really meant you took it away. I deserve it. Oh, so I've been taking it away from everything. So obviously I can't get it, because whatever you take away from something else, you take from yourself. So unless it's something both of y'all don't need, you better stop deserving that. You better start reserving it. You better reserve it. And when you reserve something, that means you have some left for something else. And saving it a little bit. Sometimes you need to save a little. Anyways, you have to meditate. You have to allow yourself, and when I say meditate, like I said, I do not mean sit down, legs crossed. If you want to do that, that's fine. That's great, actually. However, what I mean is simply like sometimes I could not meditate. I couldn't sit down, legs crossed, and I found out that I was being attacked. So instead of sitting down, legs crossed, because that was so difficult, and obviously that's an extremely powerful way to meditate. Trust me, I know. I did it for hours upon hours upon hours. I would turn and I would meditate on the tree. You see this tree behind me? I would stare at it, and I would just stare at it. I'm not trying to see nothing. I'm just staring at it. I'm taking in the fullness of this tree. Aligning my energy. That aligns my energy. I'm so much like a tree now, baby. You don't even know. I'm so much like a tree. Or I would just stare at the grass, taking the fullness of that grass. Stare at just rocks. This was before I ever got my hands on a crystal. I really didn't know exactly what was going on. The only thing that I knew was what I was experiencing. It was quite intense. So I was just meditating on everything that I could. I was meditating on the song, what you call the sun, which that's a broken sun. That's a broken song. Like that's the song with the top off. Like they chopped the top. I took the top off. Like your girl with the top off, and like your car with the top off. Like the sun with the top off. And they like it all with the top off. They don't like it, the roof on there, right? They don't like it being a full cycle. A female walking around with no top on, she usually don't have much self-esteem or good intentions. I noticed that a lot of these women actually are utilizing their sexuality as a way to conquer the men and make them slaves of the mind on the astral plane, which is a whole nother story. And I know a lot of those things are kind of negative to other people, but to me, it's just reality. Like I experience everything. Like I experience the good stuff and I experience the extremely negative stuff. So I really can't I can't sugarcoat or shake who I am, because I was born to really bring to you the grimy and the great. That's who I am. Like if you want to know the grimy and the great, if you just want to know the great, then you better know this. If ever a situation occurred where you ended up in the grimy, you would come to me. You would come to me, because it would go beyond the physicality. It would go beyond just, well, I don't got a house. You know what I'm saying? I got to stay in divine alignment. How do you do that in the grimy, though? I know you know how to do that in the great. When it's all good, you know what I'm saying? When it's love and flowers and stuff like that. But what about when you end up where the flowers is dead and where you half dead? You're not living in life. You're living a life that is well within death. How do you escape that without facing the grimy, without facing the dirty that's on you? You don't even want to see yourself. But you're going to ascend. It's kind of weird. I know that my brain has registered things, and so it sometimes flicks ideas or situations and circumstances into my mind when I'm thinking about things, and I'm like, why is that? I have no quarrel with this individual. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still getting total control of that and detoxifying this physiological system so that the things within it do not resonate those frequencies. And I seriously apologize to people who experience that possibly, because I know my psychic abilities are extremely intense. So I can only imagine if they actually sense those thoughts. And I'm like, damn, that's not what I'm trying to think though. Like, I'm not actually doing it on purpose. This is the thing doing that. That's why I be staying by myself, because I noticed that my energy actually hurts other people sometimes. And I'm like, that's not fair. Like, that's not fair. It's not fair to me because I'm hurting people I could be friends with. It's not fair to them because they didn't do anything to me as far as I'm aware. Because, you know, sometimes you don't think somebody did something to you until you find out that they did. That's another story. That was nasty, I know. Sorry. You know, I'm still purging. So this is the grimy and the great. But anyways, keeping your aura protected also involves having some crystals. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you want to rest. If you want to rest, if you ain't trying to just sit in meditative state all day, all yay, because you're not a Buddhist, you know what I'm saying, or something like that, get you a crystal. Like, everybody just, oh, well, you know, I feel like that's cheating, or I feel like you're gonna get hooked on it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get hooked on having a little rest. Trust me, I was like that. When I first started my journey. I wouldn't do anything but meditate on the song. I wouldn't use organite or none of that. It was raw power. But guess what? I can still do it. However, when I wanted a little rest, I couldn't rest. Because I wasn't creating stuff like the dream manifestor, dream catcher. That actually, I found out actually slows negative entities in your space. They can't move as well. I'm like, if I would have been using all that from the whole beginning, it would have been way easier. Now, I leveled up way. But still, though, it's like when you want that rest, you need assistance. I appreciate the birds for flying past me every time that my meter was going a little high and the pot was boiling over and I was about to explode in rage because I didn't have enough to be able to filter the energy that I was experiencing. I was too bogged down and I wasn't doing enough exercise and I wasn't meditating enough and I was within a vibrational state of beingness where I needed a little assistance so the birds would fly by. And they be cheap. That's just a cheap state of beingness. It's cheap. It ain't worth that much. You know what I'm saying? Let it go. I'm like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you for flying by and then letting me know again. Thank you for being the voice of reason. Because I was about to do something for which there might have been a reason. Like, man, come on, that's a very small amount of reason. It's not that logical. So that's very important. And also to recognize that certain objects that you carry around can attract danger. So I'm not saying don't be armed, but if you walk around with a gun, expect everything that is associated with that vibrational format of frequency to find you. Expect that. If you're a warrior and you see yourself as that, I ain't mad at that. Go ahead, carry your guns, carry your swords and everything. However, and some people have to be because you are a warrior. So you need that. I get that. However, some people just got it out of fear. Oh, if something happens, I'm like, you might as well not have it. That's the truth. You might as well not have it because you would ascend out of that state of beingness faster and into a state of resonance where you would actually be able to govern yourself on a spiritual level better if you were to let go of that object that's actually attracting a reality that you don't want nothing to do with. You don't want anything to do with that at all. And you can't do anything in it really at all anyway. Because it's not your vibrational state of beingness. I mean, if you got a sword and you would never swing it, you would never even practice with it. Or you got a gun and you never go to the gun range, you never even practice with it. Why do you need it? Or if you're just going to the gun range because it's fun, why do you need it? You know, well, at that case, you might do need it and you don't even know. You protected yourself on a whole nother level. You don't even know. But that's another story. But the point is, that's how you protect yourself. That's energy comes first. then the physicality. So as long as you keep your energy together and don't let it get broken down, you'll be protected on the physical. Much love and happy ascent.